Yep, this is on. Thank you for coming to the 300 Seconds session. We're just about to start. So hi, I'm Sharon O'Day. Some of you have seen me do this intro 3 times before, so I'm going to skip the origin story this time, if you don't mind. If you haven't heard it or you've forgotten, it's women get annoyed on Twitter, do something about it, and here we are a few years later. This year, I wanted to talk about something else. So last week, I went to a book launch, a woman called Evita. She's a Mancunian, but she was poised, she was funny, she was full of that kind of easy authority that you get from people who really know what they're talking about, or at least do a really good job at pretending they know what they're talking about. But either way it works. It's one of those people that then the rest of the room suddenly treats like a leader. They're all listening. And that's when it occurred to me that that woman, Evita, she wasn't born like that. She was made like that. She was, she gained everyone's attention. The woman holding that rope wasn't born like that. She was made like that by people who put her on small stages and then big stages, by people and audiences who listened to what she had to say, by the slow and unglamorous work of fighting to be heard, getting better one go at a time. And that's what this session is. It's not the polished version, it's a first draft for a lot of people. I wrote a post-it note and stuck it on my notes kind of version. But we talk a lot in our industry about pipelines, speaker pipelines, leadership pipelines, that elusive next generation of speakers. But every year we have the same question: where are the new voices? Well, they're right here, in the room with us now. They've always been here. The job then is making room for them, listening to what they have to say, and then remembering that the work doesn't stop the moment they walk off the stage. Because the confidence that we admire, the confidence we admire in keynotes, in boardrooms, in front of clients maybe, it isn't a personality trait. It's a track record. It's something that we learn and we get better at one step at a time. So 5 minutes on a stage here can become a panel, it can become a podcast, and then a byline and maybe even a book of your own. That confidence, it compounds. So it doesn't just compound on this conference stage though, it compounds in a team meeting, when you back the quieter voice over the louder one, in the LinkedIn comment that says, hey, maybe you should hear what Hannah has to say about this. The moment a senior person says, why don't you ask her? She's the real expert here, and really means it. So leaders are made out of those small acts of someone else making space, which makes, I think, our job today really straightforward. We're not here to just passively sit here and receive 5 talks. We're here to be the audience that these speakers deserve on their first go. So I want hooping, I want cheering, I want Beyonce front row energy from everyone here, because someone on this stage will be on a bigger stage next year, and we get to be the sort of people who say we were in the room where it started. So I want that Beyonce energy from everyone right now as we welcome on our first speaker, who is Oana.
Working, great. Hi everyone, I'm Oana and I'm a user researcher at Citizens Advice, and today I'll be talking to you about some research I've done with advisors mainly, so we're not going to focus a lot on the client's voice today. If you're not familiar with Citizens Advice, we are a charity. We have been giving free advice since the start of the Second World War, so that is a lot of time ago. And as a result, we have a lot of years of trust to protect, and AI for us has to be implemented really responsibly and ethically. Our demand today is really higher than ever. We have a lot of clients who are presenting with a lot of intersecting issues, and the cases that they come to us with are really very complex. And one of the first initiatives we took in trying to understand where the attitudes of our network are in relation to AI is a survey. So we ran a survey with about 2,500 people in our network. Now that is a really far cry from the 50 to 100 responses we usually get. So it just shows the appetite in our network to kind of express themselves regarding this topic. And we heard, we have many offices across England and Wales, and we heard from about 100 and so of them. Now, because I have very little time, I'm not going to focus on a lot of what we found out through that survey, but I'll just pull out one of the main insights. And that insight is related to this sort of split in what people said. So on the one hand, advisors want AI to help them with their work. They were very passionate about AI sort of reducing their routine tasks, about helping them to find options and resources. But on the other hand, they really didn't want AI to be giving advice independently, and I think the focus should be on that word, independently. It was only about 2.5% of them that really were comfortable with AI doing that. Everyone else seemed to really want this sort of human-in-the-loop model when it comes to sort of AI being in any public-facing relationship. And as an organization, while we have definitely not ruled out or ignored client-facing AI tools, we have invested quite a lot in advisor-facing AI tools. And one example of a tool is Caddy. Now, if you have not heard of Caddy, Caddy is a generative AI tool. It was built by Citizens Advice SORT. So SORT are based here in the Manchester area. And the way Caddy works is like this. So the advisor asks Caddy a question, and then Caddy generates an answer. And it does so based on a very limited amount of trusted sources, such as our website or gov.uk. And apologies, I think you might be one behind, so that's okay. When I was supporting the research on Caddy, what became obvious really quickly is the fact that, and really quite unsurprising, is that Caddy provides some answers to people which are welcomed by advisors, but when I was speaking to them, they just really want very complete, high-quality answers. They have this ChatGPT mental model, and they want those answers in relation to complex and niche queries. They want them to be backed up by clear, trusted references so that they can spend less time on research, or maybe even skip that step altogether. And that puts us in an interesting tension. It's not a flat-out contradiction by any means, but it is a tension here, because on the one hand, we have advisors clearly saying, I am not comfortable with AI giving advice to clients. That's our job. Obviously, it is the core of their profession. They're called advisors. And on the other hand, they're saying, you know, I really want AI to kind of give me these complete answers. I want to do less research. So in essence, what they're saying is, I want AI to be doing a bit more, and I want to do a bit less, if possible, to help me kind of cope with this stressful situation where we have clients kind of waiting on hold. They're a bit stressed, and we really want to get the best outcome for them. And this then leads us to a question, which I think as an organization we're still trying to figure out. So I'm not here to give you by any means the answers. I think research in very early stages is very good at sort of surfacing those tensions and helping us articulate better questions, and I think this is one of them. So it is, how far can a tool go in shaping an answer before it stops feeling like support and it starts feeling like a substitute? And this is even more important because about 78% of our respondents to that survey said that they fear that AI would be taking away jobs from humans. So it's really a design question that we cannot just kind of gloss over. And while we're still trying to figure things out, and we've got lots of research happening, especially with the client audience, there is a huge literature on AI. We're not starting from scratch here. And I've just pulled out 3 principles that I'm just going to quickly touch on that we as an organization are considering. So one of them is to design for deliberate engagement and not just approval. And this comes as a result of the fact that we know that the sort of switch from support to substitute doesn't happen immediately, like overnight. It actually happens gradually through habitual approval. So when instead of using one's judgment, you kind of defer to what the AI is saying. And in order to sort of bypass, or not bypass, but say counteract that, we need to be designing AI tools that that encourage that deliberate engagement. And we could do that through some cognitive forcing functions. If you're not familiar with those, I really recommend kind of reading into it. But it's about kind of introducing some very intentional friction to make sure that our advisors are very much still engaging with the AI outputs. The second one is making outputs easy to inspect, not just easy to trust. This comes again from a huge body of literature on automation bias, whereby we know that outputs that sound really confident and are really well structured and are quite authoritative in nature tend to increase that automation bias. So that means that, again, people sort of defer to them regardless of their accuracy. So for us, it's really important to consider how the output is being presented and not just to make sure that it is accurate, which obviously is also important. And the last one is to consider the entire ecosystem of tools. Now, we can't be the only organization that is actually trying to develop a suite of AI tools, and some of these might be interacting with each other, and advisors will have to sort of navigate their way around them. And for example, tools such as a quality checker, so like a buddy that is there kind of trying to say to the advisor, you might be able to say this or improve on this or something. It ensures that the advisor is still engaging with the AI output and using their own sort of skill set. So this is all I had to say today. I would just conclude by saying that I am a user researcher, and obviously for us the most important thing is the user experience. But I think when it comes to AI, it's not just about optimizing for the technicality of it, the technical side, nor even just the user experience. If in order to protect the skill set of our advisors, we need to be introducing a bit of friction here and there, I think we should be okay with that. Because in the end, for us, it's about protecting the expertise and the professional identity of our advisors, and ultimately, we're protecting the core of who we are as Citizens Advice. That is me. I hope I did justice to there were a couple of people this morning who said that they have hope in the future of technology because of young people. So as a young person, I hope I did that justice. Anyway, thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That was brilliant. What a great opening act. So next up, we have our second speaker, who is Zen Yang. Come and join us.
Do you want to push your slides on? There you go. Yeah, cool.
Hi, everyone. Before I start, I want to be honest. I didn't say yes to this talk because I feel ready. I say yes because I'm tired of waiting to become the kind of person who feels ready. For a long time, I thought future leaders were other people. People sounded confident and walked into room like they already belonged. And I didn't think that was me. I wasn't the loudest in the room, and English isn't my first language. If I ask myself what a future leader looks like, my honest answer was probably not me. In meetings, I often have something to say. But before I speak, my brain starts a risk assessment. Should I say this? Is it good enough? What if I say it wrong? Then someone else speaks. The chair moves on, and I contribute absolutely nothing, apart from a full length of feature film in my head. So I prepare for meetings and for this talk. I call it emotional support stationery. Preparation doesn't remove nerves. It just gives me something to hold on to. And I have learned ready enough is often enough. Last year, I applied for the LG Comms Future Leader Program, a competitive program for people working in local government communications to develop into leadership. I wanted to progress, and I wanted to challenge myself. And I couldn't keep waiting for someone to tell me I'm ready. So I pressed send. And I got on the program. I thought confidence would finally arrive. No, it didn't. And my brain said, oh no, now they expect you to behave like a future leader. But confidence didn't come before I applied or after I was selective. Courage came first, quiet courage. Applying while doubting myself, speaking when my voice may shake, and showing up before I feel ready. That's why I say yes to this 300 seconds talk. Not because I suddenly become confident. I'm not. I say yes because I want to stop myself, to stop my fear making decisions for me. I'd rather be uncomfortable for 5 minutes than disappointing myself for not trying. This talk is evident. I'm still standing here, doing the scary things I was scared of doing. I worry I would say, thank you for coming to my panic attack. But I'm still here. Maybe that's the point. Confidence is not an entrance ticket. Confidence is a receipt. You get it after you do the scary thing, after applying, press send, speaking up, or surviving. This program made me realize I don't have to wait to become someone else to lead. I can grow as myself, with my accents, my stories, my nerves, and my emotional support stationary. When I leave this stage, I won't be suddenly fearless, but I will still be I am, but I will also be someone who did it. So if you have something to say, apply, press send, or step forward. Do it. Prepare. Face the fear. Do the things. And let confidence catch up. Thank you.
I think we can say you were more than ready for that.
Thank you.
We have our third speaker for you, and that is Robin Roy.
Oh, hang on, I've got the people the wrong way around. It's all right, we'll go.
So I know it's a bit cliche speaking about AI. I feel like, this is a topic just shoved down our faces all the time. But, as a developer, I do feel like it is important to talk about this. Who's doing the thinking? So first, I'm an apprentice developer at Nexa Digital. I'm glad to be here today. I've had a pretty great time. Everyone's pretty interesting here. So just a quick show of hands. How many of you have used AI for anything recently? Okay, so pretty much the entire room, all right? And one thing is, it's interesting to see how AI has gone from something we've talked about as science fiction to something we use almost every day, just like, how you have all just demonstrated right now. But there's a key question I keep coming back to. When we use AI, how much are we really letting it think for us? AI, when I use it, I could just sometimes just kick my feet up and let it do all the work for me. And that's the biggest point of AI. It makes things so much easier for us. But is there anything wrong with this? I mean, this is what it's designed for. And this convenience is exactly why AI has blown up so quickly. You know, corporations are investing millions into this. But before I want to talk about the downsides, let's have a look at how AI has been useful for us developers. So, based off of a 2025 developer survey, there are 3 main ways that AI has reportedly helped us work and learn. First, productivity. 69% of developers report increased productivity, meaning that they could achieve more in less time. Second, efficiency. 70% report improved efficiency with tasks being completed faster and with less effort. And finally, learning speed, where 63% say they learn faster when using AI, especially when picking up new tools or unfamiliar concepts. And personally, myself, you know, as an apprentice, there's so many new tools you're being exposed to all the time. You know, I didn't have a clue about like DevOps and all this stuff, but you know, AI is effective in, you know, gathering the information and just giving it to us in like one central place. So across the whole board, we're seeing a pattern. AI is helping us reduce time being spent and letting us work faster and learn quicker. Now, while AI has its clear benefits, there's also emerging research of how it affects the way we think when we heavily rely on it. A 2025 MIT study split participants into 3 groups, one without any support, one using search engines, and one only using large language models. They're all tasked to write essays on topics they personally found interesting, and were later asked questions about their work. The results show differences in how engaged participants were mentally. The large language model group showed around a 55% drop in measures linked with active thinking during the task compared to those without support. They also found out that 78% of LLM users struggle to accurately recall quotes from their own essays afterwards. Now, this pattern isn't necessarily surprising. Mental effort naturally changes depending on what tools we use. Writing an essay with support, writing an essay without much support requires much more active thinking than with. The key point isn't that I'm trying to say AI makes you dumb or anything like that, but rather different tools can change how we mentally approach a task. So, I just blurted out all this nonsense to you. So if we actually step back from all of this, what should we actually do when we're using AI? Well, there are a few simple principles to keep it useful without losing track of how we think. First, do be critical of AI responses. Don't assume that they're always correct just because they sound confident. Second, do use AI consciously. It should support your thinking and not replace it. Third, do use AI to learn, not just to get answers, but to test yourself and understand the reasoning behind it. AI helps you learn a lot, just when it comes to understanding the syntax behind it, and there's a lot of implications today that, you know, you shouldn't like rely on AI, especially this talk I'm doing, but my point is, use it to support you. Don't just let it think for you. And there are also a few things to avoid. Don't blindly trust results without checking them. Don't use AI without understanding what it's doing. And don't become dependent on it to the point where you can't work through problems without it. I'll leave you with a quote. Like a drug, the machine is useful, dangerous, and habit-forming. The oftener one surrenders to it, the tighter its grips become. Thank you.
That was brilliant. Thank you so much for that. That was a really informative talk and lots of great lessons for us all. I have done these in the wrong order, so let me flick backwards to our next speaker, who is Aditya Shah, who is going to talk to us about hiring and AI, one of many AI talks today.
Hi everyone, I'm Adi. I'm a final year, more like final month CS student here in Manchester, an entrepreneur. I have 3 passions in life: pizza, Formula 1, and AI. I love using AI for everything except relationships and uni work, of course. But as Robin has just alluded to, right? With this amazing innovation, there comes some problems and things we have to overcome. And for the next 5 minutes, I want to talk to you about how AI has quietly changed what we should be hiring for in any knowledgeable role. So there's this app called Cluely. It runs underneath the screen sharing layer when a candidate joins your video call. It feeds them real-time answers to whatever you ask. The interviewer sees a clean desk, the candidate sees the answer. Cluely was started by a Columbia student, and he actually got expelled for it. And within a year, he had raised millions from VCs, and there are half a dozen tools just like it now. About a third of technical candidates were using one by the end of last year, and it's climbing. But cheating is just the surface. Underneath is something much more important. Apologies. Perfect. Perfect. Sorry about that, guys. So, look, the skills that hiring currently measures, those are things you can memorize. Frameworks, methods, definitions, syntax. AI has absorbed them. 25% of new code at Google is now made by AI. And designers use Figma AI for flows. Researchers use ChatGPT for personas. 75% of knowledgeable workers use AI daily. We test for what AI does best, but we're not testing for what it's worst at. So what is AI worst at? Well, knowing when a model is confidently wrong, knowing when to reframe a problem instead of solving the wrong one faster, knowing where the edge of competence is and when to override it. That is the new core skill, not using AI, calibrating it. So I have, taken so many interviews in my life, everything with companies like Virgin Media 2 to even the likes of The Apprentice, the BBC show. Last year, Harvard and BCG ran a study. 700 consultants. One group used AI, the other did not. On easy tasks, AI helped. On harder ones, just slightly outside what AI could do, the AI group got it completely wrong. They were actually being prompted to actually make the wrong answer because they could not feel where the edge was. A designer who cannot tell when AI suggestion is plausible, but wrong ships working problems faster. A researcher who cannot tell when a synthesis is hallucinated misleads stakeholders more confidently. That blindness to the edge of what AI can do is a capability that matters most now, and we're not testing for it anywhere. So what does this instrument look like? It does not stop candidates using AI during their assessments. It requires them to use it on real work in their domain. It watches how they think under pressure. It watches how they ship at the keyboard. And it scores them on what actually predicts performance now. Judgment under ambiguity, tactic knowledge, capacity for change, and the ability to update beliefs when the work shifts under your feet. It produces evidence, not opaque scores. The decision stays with a human. The instrument just stops you having to fly blind. So you're probably thinking, this guy seems pretty knowledgeable on this subject. Hopefully he's made a solution to it. Well, actually, I'm part of Basanite, and we have made an AI interviewer that solved exactly this problem. There are 2 QR codes on screen, one for our website and one for my LinkedIn. If you hire technical people or you're just interested to learn more about it, feel free to connect with me. We have spent 20 years screening for what AI is replacing. Now with the AI revolution, we need to start screening for what it can't do. Thank you for listening.
That was amazing. You did a smashing job there. And we have our final speaker of the day, who is James. And while he's coming on, I'm going to catch up on the slides because we ended up in the wrong order. No, I screwed that up. Sorry.
Just turn it off.
Yeah, we can do. There we go.
I'm not sophisticated enough for slides. Oh, there we are.
Yeah, we're good.
You've got my name.
Let me hit play. There we go.
Great.
No.
There we are.
There we are. I'm going to hand you over to James. Thanks.
Cheers, thank you. Thanks, everyone. So, those of you who've got your hands free, got a notepad in front of you, what I want to do is a bit of audience participation, well, to an extent. I want you guys to get out a notepad and write down the top line of a page, or in your phone, or just in your head if you've not got it available. A struggle, a challenge, or a failure that you think you're struggling to deal with right now. And then I want you to associate that word with success. So underneath it, I want you to write down equals success. I've come to this story through my own, and that is that about 4 years ago, in June 22, I fell off a cliff, literally. I broke my back, damaged my spinal cord, and had multiple injuries. I was in a coma for about a week. And when I woke up, my wife and my parents sat down to explain to me that I'd damaged my spinal cord and I might never walk again. And I can honestly say my immediate reaction was, right, okay, and what? We'll deal with it. And then, immediately following that, was who said I can't walk? Why? How do they know that? What are we going to know? And I've come to summarize those two thoughts as come to terms with the problem, that I've gone off a cliff, I've damaged my spinal cord, I have an accident. But I don't accept it. I don't have to accept those challenges, and I don't have to accept the situation they're in right now. And that progressed then through my rehab journey. And through every stage, I learned to stand, I learned to walk short distances with crutches, and then walk short distances without the use of a wheelchair or any supports. But I still can't run, and I still can't ride a bike. Two things that I was really passionate about before the accident. I ran the London Marathon just 6 months before. And so I've learned during that period of time that I can still have opportunities from this accident, and this accident has provided me opportunities. And when you look back at that challenge that you've written down, that challenge that you're thinking about, even if it seems hard to overcome now, it will provide you with opportunities for success. The Stoic phrase is amor fati, and that is to love your fate. And that is the journey that I've been on, I love the fate, my journey. I wouldn't be here now. And it's provided me, like I say, with opportunities I wouldn't have had before. I'm now a 3 times national champion in triathlon, para-triathlon. I'm a triathlon coach. I get to coach others and through their own journeys, something I consider a privilege. And I've got to meet some multiple gold-winning Paralympic champions. These are all opportunities I would not have had if I had not had the accident. The accident in itself has produced success. Everything doesn't have to, something that feels like a massive challenge doesn't have to be a failure. And so when you look back at your challenges that you've written down, look at where are your opportunities for success and how can you turn those things into a privilege in that way. And that is all I have for you. Thank you.
What a smashing bunch of speakers we had this year. Actually, if we get everyone back on, we'll just do a quick thank you to everyone. We've got James, we've got Zen, we've got Aditya, and we've got Robin, and we've lost one of our speakers. But I want to say thank you to everyone. You all did an incredible job, and I'm sure we'll see more of them in future years.